Welcome back, folks, to the Via Pinstriping page. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching. So today I wanted to just do another design video. These are fun for me, they're fun practice, and they're also good sort of learning tools for anybody that wants to follow along. Today we're going to be using a sword pinstriping brush. This is the Excalibur. I cannot remember the size, but I think it's a 00. You can get these from Mr. J. Just type in Mr. J on Google, Mr. J pinstriping or something like that, and you could find these on his website. I have here a chalkboard panel. I think these came from like the Dollar General, and I did something like 1-inch squares as my grid. Generally, I don't do grid lines so tight, so small. But I just used what ruler I had, and I kind of used the size of the ruler. So we're going to start in the middle. And I'm going to try to do something like an S curve that meets back in the middle. I started in the middle, went out, crossed here, and went back in. I'm trying to do something a little different from a just a regular old teardrop shape. So I'm going to try to do the mirror image on the other side. And keep in mind, folks, I'm not real versed with these swords, but I'm trying to get better with them. So I've been forcing myself to use them. They are, it's definitely a learning curve for me. So now I'm going to try to build on this design, okay? I think I'm going to try to connect. I'm going to try to connect to this one. Right in the middle. And the same thing on the other side. I didn't quite connect exactly where I wanted it to, but I was pretty close, so I'm just going to kind of fake it. I'm just going to make this line thicker right here to make the connection look like it happened where I wanted it to, and I'll just lower this one a little bit. Kind of just, it's a quick way to fix a very minor gap there that I had. So now I'm going to come down with like a C curve. Right. And the thing with these is you do have to spin them in your fingers, which is what I had to slightly give it a spin there. I've heard it called as the rudder effect. So you kind of got to treat this thing like a rudder. If you want it to go a certain way, you kind of got to pretend like you're in the water. And if you want this thing to make a turn, you sort of have to spin it as such, right? Whichever way you want to go. And that's what makes these, to me, so difficult. But I feel like they're powerful. You know, these things are, these sword brushes are withstood the test of time when it comes to pinstriping, and you really get a beautiful line out of them if you know how to use them correctly, which I'm working at. I was able to do a car show recently where my friend Eddie Z, airbrush artist, great airbrush artist, Eddie Z was up there. My buddy Lurch, which is also an amazing custom painter. My friend Crystal Brookshire was up there, and she set up with me. Very, very awesome painter as well, and a pinup model, and just all around cool person. They were all up there, and I was trying to use this brush while I was up there, and I really like it. I like that it's a little shorter than most swords. I don't know if y'all know, but a regular Mac is probably a good inch longer. This is quite a bit shorter. And it works out well for me as a sort of a learning tool to sort of get used to them. Plus, I have very small hands. So I'm just trying to fill in where I think it would work. And I'm not doing real big loops and crazy elongated curves because again, I have a hard time with that with this brush. So I'm kind of doing more sharp, very old school stuff. So I think I'm going to make an attempt at crossing over all of this. Now when you do this stuff, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because there's always a chance of making a mistake. All right, there's still a gap there, and I did that on purpose because you could always fill that in. It's almost a little easier to stop early and connect it than it is to go past it and try to fix it. I mean, you can always fix it. That's another thing with these swords is the line is actually created, you know, about a maybe a quarter of the way in is what creates the line. It's not really working on the tip like the scrollers that I'm used to. So now when I cross over here, I want this thing to meet in the middle, and I want it to end right here as it did over there, which is 2 squares away from the middle, right? So I'm going to try to cross right in the middle if I can, and really consider that to be the point I want it to cross. Right? It ain't perfect. It's off by just a hair. But again, you can fix that. You can go over the top of it, which gets you a little closer. Make that line just a little thicker. And it kind of gets you right where you want to be. Now I'm going to try to give this a little bit of arms and legs here. Right? So I'm going to try to meet down here. Always try to consider the amount of arch that you put into it, or lack thereof. And I said this on the last video, you got to get used to going over your lines twice, folks, because it's going to happen quite a bit. Now there I went a little too far. I'm going to get a rag. I'm going to make a very tight corner with one of the shop towels. I dipped it in mineral spirits, so it's just a little bit damp there. And I'm going to use that to wipe off this excess line. That easy. And I'm paletting in between the strokes. You have to always make sure that your paint is the correct consistency that you want per the line that you're trying to create at that particular moment. So now we've gone downward. I'm going to try to make the attempt of making this go this way. All right, try real hard not to stick my finger in this. Right, there's that. And I'm going to try to do the same thing. I see it's gone below this line, so I'm going to try to do the same thing over here and stop right before this line right here. Right. Something like that. Now I think I'm just going to connect right back to the top. Some of these design elements, folks, they don't have to continue and continue and continue. You could always just connect them right back to themselves. I pushed way too hard here, but that kind of gave me a thick to thin effect, which I'm going to just try to recreate on the other side. Apparently I didn't see how hard I was pushing. Forgive me if I breathe into the phone, it's right in my face. All right. Now I got this big old thick piece here, and it's not very thick here, so I'm just gonna start a little bit further back and start to push down to create the same thickness that I had over here. All right. So we now have sort of a top-heavy situation. I'm going to try to add some stuff to the bottom here. Now, some of these design elements do not have to connect to the rest, so I'm going to show you all that, right? I'm going to go out. I'm going to spin the brush a little, and then I'm going to go down. I'm going to try to do the same thing over here. There is a rule of trying to have lines that connect to everything, so even these, you sort of want to do something with them. So we'll try to work that out, right? But these are good rules to follow as you're beginning, as you're learning. But over time, you learn what rules you can and can't break within reason and still have a good looking design. And even that's sort of subjective, right? What is a good looking design? What might be good looking to one person could be overdone to the next, and vice versa. So I'm gonna try to just do an arch downward. These are also, I have a hard time with them, to be honest, because I always get them a little lopsided. So they're good to practice. And the other issue is you sort of sometimes end up with face looking things because you end up with like a smiley face. So it's a little not dangerous, but you know, you always got to consider your arches and where you know, if I had circles here, you'd definitely end up with a face. So many times I've heard people say, oh, I see a face in that and this and that, but I think it's just the human condition is folks are always looking for facial features. Heck, maybe even I'm accidentally making them without realizing it. Maybe I'm conditioned to make that as well. I touched the paint there, but I didn't do anything to it, so we're good. All right, going up. I'm gradually coming in as I connect the line, which is right past this one, so you want to try to keep that same gap. All right, go down, follow it along as I'm tapering inward, and really try to stay real close with it and try to fade right into it. Keeps you from having that hard lump there, right? So now, I think what I'll do is I'll go down and connect it. And that will take care of our open-ended lines here. Right, I'm going to go down, start here, go down, and connect. I stopped early so I wouldn't overshoot it, which is better because if I overshoot it, that's difficult to... Of course I touched it, but that's a difficult spot to erase out of. You would damn near have to erase the whole line. So there's some, you got to consider that stuff sometimes. And when I'm stopping, I'm lifting up some. I'm lifting up, that way I end up on just the tip because the line again is created back here. So I'm considering this stuff way ahead of time. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Consider the arch. It's a fairly decent arch that it's cohesive the whole way down. So I'll try to do the same thing, right? Arch. Try to stop around the same spot. And just fill in the gap. Your meeting points are important. Oh, and if I didn't say, I'm using this Alpha Enamel Liquid Sunshine. At some point I think I bought like a mega pack or something, I think. I don't recall exactly where or when I got all this paint, but I have a variety of paint at this point. I think it just happens over time, you just collect. All right, so, you know, I don't know, I think maybe I can extend it just a little more. I'm pretty happy with the design so far. I feel like I can, I don't know if I can just keep going out. I do want to go a little further with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do something like a teardrop, right? So I'm going to push down hard here, and I'm going to lift as I go down to create a point, right? Very fine point. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, the camera will be in my face, so I'm going to try my damnedest to get the nice arch. And I'm putting my finger here to tell myself that's where you want to be. Right in the middle of my middle finger. Anybody who's ever tried to film pinstriping will tell you it is a pain in the butt. Because generally, I want to be like this, right? As close as humanly possible. But I'm trying for it to just be my hands and just the paint so y'all can see what's actually happening. Right. So I'm going to try to extend it down just a little bit just to give me something in this area. And let's give it a shot. I'm going to try one of these circles that Jen does a lot. Ugh, it's probably going to be really rough, but she does them so good with these brushes. Hot Rod Jen. Absolute professional. Oof. All right, there's one half. Let me tell you, folks, that ain't easy. Because I'm spinning the brush and you really got to flex it. Oh, it's getting thick. See that? It got thick. Let's see if we can fix it. That was my attempt. If I had a scroller, folks, if I had the scroller on me, that would not be an issue. Because them things are just made for loops. These swords, they are very flexible and you can do a lot with them. Like I said, Jen just kills these circles with them, but man, I am not used to them. So I'm faking it. I'm basically going to fill the gaps here on the bottom because that's where I had the most trouble. Try to make it as round as I can. Right, she's a little bottom heavy, but hey, it's all good. It gives me something, right? It gives me something a little different, that round shape. So let's see here. Maybe I can, I don't know, I kind of want something that, I don't know what I want. So I feel like I still need something here. So I'm going to do another, like I did the teardrop shapes, I think I'm going to do something go out. And I think I might call it a day after that, right? So I'm going to push down. I'm going to lift as I go. Bam. Redo that because I'd like it to be thicker on top and just a finer point, right? Nice and slow. Right. And the same thing over here. Trying to end in the same spot that I did the first time. Push down. Lift up as I turn. Nice and easy, and really try to consider on a fine point. All right. Just go over that one more time. Oop. There we go. The other thing I'd like to do is I think these would look better if they were connected, so I'm going to connect them, right? Boom. And boom. Kind of turns them into little hooks. Hooks and arrows are your friends, folks. All right. So that took me roughly 20 minutes. I'm pretty happy with it. Again, working a little bit out of my element with this sword brush. Let's see if I could put my signature in the circle. Well, no, I don't think that'll look good. Let's try to do it down here. There's like a little nick there, so the paint sort of bled in sideways. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, probably not. And I always do this little swoop. It's my way of evening out my signature if it's uneven, if I kind of one-sided or whatever. That little swoop kind of gives me an opportunity to fake get it centered again. So there you have it, folks. Let me give you a center shot. Which is funny because I was thinking about it the other day. There's some people that I watch. I look at a lot of designs online, and there's some folks that won't give you that center shot. Pay attention to the ones that are giving you that off angle. They might be trying to hide something. Because that center shot will tell you if it's centered or not. Well, if I can get the damn thing to stay. There we go. So let's break it down some, right? I feel like this side is slightly mashed in right here. Where this one kind of has a prettier swoop out. Right? I'm going to break this down for you guys. What I see and what I don't see. I think these tips here could be a little bit more uniform. This one and this one, right? Okay. These ain't too bad. These ain't too bad. This line got a little thinner than this one. This is me nitpicking, folks, but this is what you want to do, right? If you're trying to improve, you want to look at what's good, what's bad. I'm pretty happy with the symmetry and the connection points on all this area right here. I feel like these two little shapes are pretty good. I feel like them two shapes are pretty good. I feel like that shape's pretty good. Yeah, it's decent. I mean, it's a decent little design. So hopefully that helps, folks. Good luck with your pinstriping. If you have any questions, just ask. Oh, sorry if it was out of focus at any point. I know this stuff is difficult to film sometimes. I think I just got it a little bit better in focus. Have a good day. Leave me a comment if you can. Please share if you can. Go through my videos if you get a chance. I have like 400 plus videos on everything pinstriping. It's all 100% pinstriping from the very first video to the very last. I don't have any videos on lettering. I don't have any videos on custom builds. I don't have any videos on leaf. I don't have any videos on anything except for pinstriping. So have a good day, y'all. Bye-bye.